What's up, VC? Where do I even begin? Man, I feel like I'm overdue. So, time to get back in the mix. A little overdue. Let's get weird with Winebender here, So, when I was at my mom's house trying to recover, last time I made a video, I had limited records near me, and I went on a side ramble, talking about vinyl tag and whatnot, and I had plans and ambitions like, I got nothing but free time. I'm gonna make, at least one definitive vinyl tag, probably 2 or 3. Never happened. Didn't have the energy. Had the want, didn't have the will or the energy. So, I'm putting together the pieces. I'm on a return to normalcy. But, when you break your body, you don't know how long it's going to take to do what or to get back in the mood. Because, to be honest with you, I'm rebuilding financially, physically, and emotionally. A lot of people, I'm grateful for the people that, leave a message via YouTube, and also the friends that people Bob text me or occasionally give me a little ring. But, I'm going through some trials and tribulations, and if you're not positive and energetic, or for me at least, I don't want to make a video. I want to make it feel like you're hanging out, right? Because that's what I'm doing here. I'm hanging out with you. It's a weird way. It's not a back and forth. You make a video, I watch it. I make a video, you watch it. We leave comments, but it's in a way, it's hanging out. But so, for those who are curious, my physical state of being, I'm ahead of the curb. I'm certainly not myself, but, when you shatter yourself and you're picking up pieces, I'm not yet normal, but happy to be closer. So I'm walking. Rarely rely on a wheelchair, only if I'm going to be moving about for a prolonged period of time, shopping, groceries, etc. Leaving the cane behind more so every single day, but I'm ahead of the curve. Nonetheless, so I'm not too bummed about any of that. I'm trying to keep my mind frame right. So I'm doing okay. The left leg's catching up the right leg. The left arm, considering, is doing pretty all right, and I'm working on core strength, because although I can stand and move around, I'm hardly quick and nimble, and I don't have the endurance to be standing for a long period of time. So I got that out of the way, because, there's so many people I want to give detail on that are curious, and they have genuine interest, so I don't want to, dismiss their curiosity, but then also I want to take time to thank people, but when you spend so much time, and Lord knows, I got comments I need to get back to in previous videos, you're very humbled by people reaching out and being so kind with their words that after you respond to multiple people, you almost feel like you're being trite or disingenuous, and I certainly never have a desire to come off in that way. So there's many people out there in the vinyl community, friends and family. Thank you so much, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart. I appreciate all your love and support. So I figured I was due to make a video just for me to get back in the rhythm of things, but also to touch base with people. So I had a loose idea before my birthday, and I'm coming not quite under the wire, but my birthday is 4/20. I don't know what today is, the 16th or so. It's the day before Easter. So I figured, let me go and get after this. If I keep on procrastinating, then it's not going to happen. So here I am, hanging out. And I'm back with the 5 fresh finds. Coming in hot, Bob Bradley style. This is not a 5 fresh find. This was a gift. My friend Vinyl, my friend Vinyl, the Patrick Archivist. My friend Patrick, the Vinyl Archivist. All right, got to brush off these rookie tendencies here. I haven't talked into a camera in quite some time. He's a perfectionist, and he knows good presents. He's not the biggest fan of Japanese presents, but I'm a fan of them in the sense that they're usually pristine. And this one's a beautiful copy. Captain Beyond, essential early 70s rock. I'm not going to get into it too much because hopefully it's just loud enough in the background that you can vibe out to it. And if you dig it, this is an album worth pursuing. Fantastic. Patrick shipped it proper. It's double bagged, Mo 5 style sleeve, pristine, a very generous gift from a good friend I've known in the vinyl community for quite some time, Patrick the Vinyl Archivist. So thank you kindly. So back to the 5 fresh finds aspect of it. Even before this accident, I always stretched out the 5 of the 5 fresh finds. Because, if I find 2 or 3 albums of the same musician, then, whatever, I'm going to lump it together. Let's get the ball rolling. But now I'm definitely stretching the fresh aspect. Because since this accident and spending time in the hospital and physical therapy and being at Mom's house, a lot of these albums, not only are they fresh to you in a sense that I have not showed them yet. But some of them, like, they're fresh to me. They just got pushed to the back burner, and I'm just now getting into them. So I've been digging my collection, appreciating what I already have. Recent finds have been way more selective because, I'll be honest with you, finances are a little bit more tight nowadays. But, with selective pickings become consistently better records. So I have some newer stuff in the mix over these next few videos, but a lot of these fresh finds are definitely going to predate the accident. So, but they're either fresh to my ears or fresh to you being shown, so let's get after it. 5 minutes. Here we go. Gil Scott-Heron, jazz poet, funk, soul musician. Phenomenal. Alright? Fantastic, as Vinyl Richie would say. The 3 most coveted records of his collection are the Flying Dutchman era, this being the second of the 3 Flying Dutchman records. Pieces of a Man. Deep lyrical substance. Songs like The Prisoner, The Needle's Eye, Pieces of a Man, Home is Where the Hatred Is. Fantastic music. Gil Scott-Heron went through a lot of pain and suffering in his life. A lot of it self-induced. He struggled with alcohol, drugs, in and out of prison, had HIV. Long career, though. I think he played at Woodstock 2, if I'm not mistaken. I think I recall watching that live on MTV as more of a youngster. But that being said, phenomenal music. The song everyone's going to know off this, and over his whole catalog as a whole, the main one is The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, which is kind of like spoken word poetry, but kind of very rhythmic and direct. It's kind of like, I don't want to call it like proto rap or proto hip hop, because that might deter some people that have a affinity against, or adversity, I'd say, against rap and hip hop. But fantastic music, absolutely stellar. But when you hear that track, you can see this and Dolomite and some of the earlier things of how it led to what inevitably became rap and hip hop as I knew it. I don't know too much about contemporary mumble rap and some of that stuff, but this is fantastic. Luckily, there's represses, because original Flying Dutchmans are getting pretty pricey, and also there was a 1980 comp that included The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, that encompasses songs from the first 3 albums. All right, Gil Scott-Heron, amazing singer, songwriter, vocalist, lyricist. All right, but the backbone behind his music, besides the fact that he was the words and the delivery and the mind and the thought behind the words presented, Brian Jackson was the composer, the pianist, keyboardist, flautist who composed a lot of the music for Brian Jackson. Their career dates back to, or career playing history dates back to them going to Lincoln University together. In fact, he was active in that album that I just showed, and the second and third album, the Flying Dutchman era. And then I forget the One and Done. I've never seen it in person. I'm just aware of it. But there's a One and Done post Flying Dutchman, pre-Arista era Gil Scott and Brian Jackson. Now, even though Brian Jackson was with him prior, it wasn't until he was with post Flying Dutchman that he was accredited and his name was on there. They made music all the way up into the 80s. And then I'd be lying if I knew anything about Gil Scott-Heron too much post early 80s, except he had a phenomenal album in the 90s. Meander. I do that. You guys should know. Let's get reacquainted. But this is the Arista era. This is like 76-ish, 77-ish. It's Your World. Pretty cool album cover there. You can see how they play the art there. It's one image from a distance. It's multiple from up close. But white label promo, if I didn't just sneak that. There's a hole punch. The world won't end. I wasted the babiest of Crease breaks earlier, and I apologize for that. I'm overdue for a good Crease break, but stupid clean. I don't know if these have caught represses or if they're that hard to find, but I think people, I'm not so daft to think that people in the vinyl community don't know who Gil Scott-Heron is, but I think he's becoming more ubiquitous, or in the musical consciousness of your more average collectors or newer collectors. So until some of these start catching represses, I noticed that they're fewer and far between, And they're also slightly more expensive when you do find them, especially in clean condition such as this. So if you get a chance, it's a good way to discover it. You know, so either the less expensive Arista era or maybe the represses of the Flying Dutchman era. It's fantastic. And I guess my last tidbit here, because we're hanging out. It's been a while, so if I go long, just deal with it, right? It's like a honeymoon, right? We're back in it. So it is what it is, right? If you look this up on Discogs, I don't want to say they're slanderizing it by labeling it as disco, but I think it's an ineptitude of some people that just anything mid-70s to late 70s R&B urban soul music, you just stamp it with disco. But this is not like the super overproduced like bee bow doop. None of that's in there. All right, this is blues soul at times, contemplative. It gets funky and rockin'. There's a couple songs that are more low key. There's also like a couple longer songs that are like more progressive and develop over like a 10-minute span or so, and there's some short songs. And I guess the last thing I didn't get into here, and I don't want to talk about one record too much, you can see stuff like Home Is Where the Hatred Is, and The Bottle, which is another phenomenal song that tells a lot about him and himself. But this is kind of a split double LP in a sense that it's split, that one half of it is just a live concert, and the other half is a genuine new album. And what is recorded live, I think, is Boston, and what is recorded in the studio for the studio LP was Electric Ladyland. There might be other places they recorded, but that's the factoids I recall off the top of my head of musician I love a lot. And to once again dismiss the non-disco aspect of it, I know Brian Jackson performed with musicians such as Roy Ayers, I love, Stevie Wonder, Earth, Wind & Fire, early Kool and the Gang? Don't quote me on that. But of course now I just threw Kool and the Gang in there, so there's definitely some disco Kool and the Gang, so maybe I just completely eroded my entire point and I've lost favor with you. Pink Floyd, next chapter of this conversation. And speaking of chapters, I probably need to put in some timestamps for people that don't care about 1/3 of the shit I'm talking about. And I'm working on not swearing, so also threw that baby out with the bathwater. Pink Floyd, it's a book. My friend Bill at Michigan Record Club, although he's moving, so I don't know if he's going to be the Carolina Record Club or what his plans are. But just before the accident, he sent me some records and some books. And I made a video, it was the only video I ever made that wouldn't upload to YouTube, which was frustrating, but I figured I'd solve that problem. But then I decided to get in a fight with a tree at, I went 12 rounds with. I went 50-50 with that tree. I'm recovering as quickly as it can. But I never got to show those things that he sent. So I'm in the process of doing that, as well as some of the gifts that people generously sent me. Records, comic books, etc. while I was laid up in the hospital in physical therapy. But Pink Floyd, if you didn't know, was a band. They were kind of popular for a little bit. But pictorial photographs and written words with letters. So I dig it. I'm a collector of coffee table books, and there's some cool tidbits in there, and it's to be appreciated. And also gave me a chance to segue into a little bit of the ubiquitous. So people can dismiss this because they're just like, I know Pink Floyd, don't show shit, I already know. This is my approach on reacquiring albums like this, because I had this on CD back in the day. When I was 12 years old, I had this as a t-shirt that I wore until it was threadbare in my late teens. So Wish You Were Here. It's phenomenal. Alright, now if I'm being frank, I think in the vinyl community, and I'm guilty of this too, there's ever a pursuit of acquiring the more obscure, the less known, the harder to find, pushing your genres, discovering new music, yada yada yada, that sometimes it's easy to overlook stuff that might already be in your collection, such as this, or a Led Zeppelin, or Rolling Stones, or I don't want to say the Beatles, because there's no offense, Beatles fans, but there's Beatles fans that all day, every day, that's all there is Beatles. But so it's very easy to either dismiss this in your collection or overlook it. And I've overlooked this album multiple times, because I'm familiar with it. I grew up with it. But one day you go to a record store, and the Holy Grail's not on the wall. You're flipping through the bins. It's stuff you already have, or stuff you would want, but the condition isn't right. And then you stumble on an album like this. It's pristine. It's oh so clean. You know, I had to grab it. So the wax is as clean as interlabeled. This white is nice. There's no ring rare, yada yada yada. It's got a UPC if that helps you, but I can't go any farther in this. If you think I'm some kind of, I am on a mission for condition, but I'm hardly like that ultra rare pressing Nazi that like wants to know, like, it's like so militant about. And I'm sorry if I'm willy nilly throwing around Nazi. You gotta be careful who you're gonna offend nowadays. I don't want to offend potential Nazis. You know, fucking Nazis. The worst Nazis are Illinois Nazis. But any hoozles, what I'm getting at, I listened to this album again. Wherever I was just getting weird with, whatever I was just blabbering about. It's been a while. And now when I think about this album, there's no one track that I just lust for. I don't yearn to just hear a single track. But sitting down with this album again, after reacquiring it, it's phenomenal. I want to hear this as an experience. This album as a whole is terribly terrific. It's fantastic. I absolutely dig it. But, once again, I don't know what pressing it is. I don't know. If there's a better pressing, someone in the comment section say, if you need this definitive pressing, make sure you do this, you find that, buy this. I don't know. I looked it up on Discogs out of curiosity, but there's like 842 vinyl pressings of this. So your guess is as good as mine. I think it's a late 70s pressing. I don't know. It's clean. It sounds good. I dig the album. All right. Another book for a segue. More of the same. Another gift from Bill, my friend at Michigan Record Club. And I could use this as a segue to say Telegram Sam, a friend of mine in the vinyl community, recently showed books and corresponding records. So, yada, yada, yada. This one is a hardbound book with more pictorial photographs and written words with letters. And that gives me a chance to segue into some albums that'll show on the B-side. Alright, back with the B-side. Beach Boys is what we're talking about. Now, for those who have hung out before, they've gotten weird before with your boy Winebender, they know I'm a fan of the surf and drag music, right? Now, the difference between surf music is exactly what you know it is. It might be garage style, that kind of, higher tone, kind of bright, vibrant, riffy jams like the Ventures, etc. Sometimes instrumental, sometimes vocal, revolving around beach culture, surfing, girls, bikinis, yada, yada, yada. The drag element is when you get in like early Jane and Dean and Beach Boys and Ripcords, etc., where they want to talk about their hot rods and their custom cars and etc., their woodies. So early Beach Boys is this. Not that I don't appreciate Surf's Up and later Beach Boys, phenomenal music, but I love the early stuff. Reminiscent of, childhood with my father, etc., the music we listened to in car culture, whatever. But to get back to being the surf and drag, one of the surf and drag guys, or I don't know, I don't want to be so bodacious as declaring myself as the surf and drag guy of the vinyl community, but I still got gaps. My wallets have limitations, and I'm human, and I like to find things in store. And sometimes when you live in the foothills of the mountains, it's hard to find surf music. So that's what this is. And this is not the ideal pristine one. It doesn't have the original font, just so you can tell by the sticker here. This is not original. And you can also tell by this is on this kind of ocean blue translucent. This is a 2017 repressing on DOL. So I don't know if that's Dole or however you want to say. Fidelity's fine. It's whatever. Not that this was the most impressive music anyways as far as like listening experience. It's, pretty rudimentary kind of surf music. But what's neat about this variant of this album, which was a gap in any condition or era of pressing, these short little ripper songs, they snuck them all on the A side. So songs like 409 and I guess Surfing Safari would be the big one here, the titular track. But on side 2, they have variant versions of some of these songs that are on here, like surfing and but they also have stuff like Surfer Girl. They have other stuff that goes down later in the catalog. Now there's a lot of bands that in the 60s were terribly prolific, you had to be, which is evidence of this. Now there's a gap between this album and this album, which I also don't have. This is 1962. This is their debut album. I still don't own their second of these 3 albums. Now if you could tell here from this little black and white, you can see what the original font would be on that Surfing Safari, and then Surfing USA is the second album, a gap in my record collection. Like I say, I'm not perfect. And I stumbled that album, but it's a beater. That record was inexpensive. That one I bought sealed for like 15. This one is brand new to me, but was used in really clean condition. Also like 15, 16 bucks. Tremendously clean. If I'm not mistaken, this is a... I don't remember what pressing this is, so I don't want to just shoot stuff out there. I don't care. How about that? I don't care what pressing is. Surfer Girls on here. Little Deuce Coupe. Our Car Club. Boogie Woody. In My Room. Fantastic song. Great music. Really clean copy. Inexpensive. I like surf and drag. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Beach Boys made a lot of awesome music. The early stuff is rad. I dig the later stuff too. Alright, but to get at it, another band was prolific. Alright, because I think the Beach Boys, I think they dropped like 15 albums in the 60s with their first album being in 1962. A lot of bands were terribly prolific. They just didn't stay together long enough. You know, Creedence Clearwater Revival was smashing out music until they weren't. So a lot of people that give up on this band because they're just like, oh, it's too much. I'm just never even going to give them a try. I can't keep up. Why bother? Just wait till you find clean copies. I like almost all their catalog, King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. But you just wait till you find them. When they come out brand new, they don't gouge you as much as some other bands do. I mean, unless you want some super weird variant, which they have a lot of variants of. For the most part, their prices are pretty affordable, and their music's good. I dig the whole catalog. If you like more hard and heavy, in-your-face rock, then Murder of the Universe. Infest a Rat's Nest. If you like, the jazz fusion stuff or the kind of wonky, weird, spacey stuff, just look up the albums. They're all dope. But this one in particular is Butterfly 3000. A cool thing that they did for local record stores or independent record stores, which I missed because I was quite literally about the time this came out, I was under the knife. But they released multiple variants of this. I would have loved Mariposa 3000 because, I mean, my amigos understand that's funny. But they did like Spanish version of this, like a Thai version, Indian version, Arabic version, different fonts and different languages, which is pretty cool. And they had different color pressings. This one is on yellow, which goes well with the overall theme. Felt a little slighted, even though this record was brand new when I acquired it. No crease break. Write a letter to complain. As for the music, this is kind of electro, synth pop, indie, like high energy art rock. This is cool. This is fun stuff. Especially considering when this album came out, not only was the world on lockdown, but this Australian band, King Gizzard and Lizard Wizard, Australia's like on extra lockdown. Alright? Two things, speaking of Australia, go Cats. Second thing is, since, to go back to the first, or wherever I was at, meander, sleepy, bedtime. The fact that this album came out and is so bright and energetic and positive while being recorded in a time of doom and gloom and paranoia and despair is pretty impressive. Songs like Shanghai, Dreams, Interior People, You Love, all really catchy, fun, energetic songs. My favorite one on this is Catchin' Smoke. If you were to listen, and the video's a little quirky and weird with the dance elements and face makeup and just peculiar. The band's peculiar, I'm not denying that. But Catchin' Smoke is just tremendously catchy music. Really dig this album. Since I've gotten home, rediscovered my collection and listening to a limited new purchases, this album has been spun as much as anything else I've spun since returning home. Alright, also staying in the wheelhouse and keeping this as one fresh find, 2 albums from one band. More King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Alright? So, if I'm not mistaken, this is like viewed as like a compilation EP. I don't know, LP. It's a fairly short, quick ripper. So if you were to discover the band, this is an inexpensive way to do so. I think you could find these online for as low as like 17 bucks. And then they have a multitude of different colored pressings like a lot of new bands do, and especially this band, that, you might find pressings from, $20 to $25. But this one won't break the bank. Depending on how you look at it, there's 2 ways to approach purchasing an album like this. Now, this comp, Teenage Gizzard, is their music they were making, unreleased tracks from their early days before they started releasing records. And so you could look at it two ways. Like well, one, you could either want to discover this because this is their really gritty, lo-fi, surf rock, garage rock, gritty origins of where they came from. So it's kind of cool to discover where the band goes from. Or you might push it aside and be like, no, I don't want to discover their hidden track, weird, like fanboy tracks, as some people might view it as such. They might say, I'm just going to go online and look up the top 5 King Gizzard albums, read about them, find out which one is most my style, and then acquire that. If that's your prerogative, do so. If you like it a little lo-fi and weird and want to know the origins of the band and the first music they were making, cheap way to do so. Either way, I know I'm one of the cheerleaders of this band in the vinyl community, along with people such as Rob Walker. But rad music, good stuff. Give the band a go. And if you're in October in Asheville, I'll see you at the concert. All right, last thing. Let's tighten it up here. Every single time I go in the record store, I got a couple gaps I'm always looking for and never seem to find. Always, and I was about to go on another sidetrack. Let's keep it focused. The Stooges. I got a really clean debut, self-titled. For the life of me, I need to find a clean copy of Raw Power and Funhouse. And so I stepped into Pharmacy Records sometime before the accident. It was asking about that. He's like, man, I haven't found... Oh, let me get my junk off of Iggy's junk. But I didn't find that. All right, and so this is not the kind of raw, nasty, snarling, Michigan rock, proto-punk music that was the Stooges, which was not that terribly popular at the time, but just became ingrained in the rocker's mind and became classic. So that's not that, all right? So they became more popular and gained more notoriety as their careers went on. All right, this is after that. Am I wrong? This is Iggy Pop's debut album, if I'm not mistaken. You tell me what year it is. You guys know better than I. 1977. In fact, another thing I'm going to go and be daft about. I forget. I'm pretty sure this is UK first press. I don't know. Forgive me for that hair. Don't be mad. Clean copy. Super happy to find it. Is this the proto-punk, snarly, aggressive goodness I want? No. Is this like the kind of electronic overtoned avant art rock? Yeah, that's what it is. David Bowie and Iggy Pop wanted to clean up. So they moved out to Europe. They're like, hey man, we're on this smack and all sorts of drugs. Let's go clean up, and while we're cleaning up, let's make some music. So all these writing credits together are Iggy Pop and David Bowie, except for the introduction track of Sister Midnight also has Carlos Alomar is accredited as a writer on that. But Dum Dum Boys, China Girl, Fun Time, those are probably the tracks that you know most on this. Good music. I dig it. When I listen to it, I'll probably appreciate it more when I acquire those Stooges albums I'm so looking for. Because even though I really dig this and it's a different vibe, every time I spin this, I'm just like, man, I want some raw power in my life. So hopefully I'll get lucky. I know there's a clean copy of Funhouse out in a local place around here, Cabin Floor Records, and I haven't spent a lot of money lately, but I might buy myself a birthday gift because I've been a little tight with the purse strings lately. But anyways, I've rambled, I've blabbered about. I'm trying to keep it under 30 minutes here. I'm pretty freaking close and probably going to going on this side note. Freaking love you guys. Sorry I've been distant, but been working on me. Think that's pretty appropriate. Life's been up and down, and I'm trying to stay up now. So I'm back in the mix. I'm probably posting this on Easter Sunday. If you celebrate that, then God bless you. If you don't, God bless you anyways. Whatever you believe, I got nothing but love for you. Whatever your feelings or notions are. Take care. Be well. All that jazz. Hold me accountable. Leave a message. Do all that YouTube stuff. And then I'll make a point to not only respond to the comments in this video, but then make sure I go backwards retroactively and comment on all the people that were so polite as to leave a comment on previous videos. Anyways, meandering about. Thanks for getting weird. One love.